a Scandinavian author called Astrid Lindgren who wrote Brothers Lionheart. And when we were kids, that was like me and Sarah's Bible. We would promise things to each other. We'd be like, we'll swear on the book.
It just was a beautiful story about two brothers, and they pass away, but in every life or afterlife, they always end up together. Yeah. And they fight whatever challenges together.
Yeah.
And when we were younger,
it resonated with us, and we were like, oh my God, this is like us. But
we're sisters, Lionheart.
Yeah, we're sisters. And because I got so sick, I was like, Sarah, like, I don't want to be like them, where we have to pass on. I want to do something in this world.
Yeah.
And I think that really hit her because she was like, oh my God.
Like it's now. It's not, you don't wait.
It's not a dress rehearsal.
No, it's not exactly. And so when we were kids, like we were like, one day we're going to do something together. We're going to call it Lionheart.
Welcome back to The Materialist. I am Mark Bridge, the founder and CEO of At Present, matchmaker to extraordinary jewelry, and I am your host. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting with two of our favorite jewelry designers and jewelry makers. I was thinking, is it two or is it one? The sisters Haugaard, is that how we pronounce this? Right. Sarah and Joy, the masterminds behind Lionheart, one of our favorite jewelry brands, and great to chat with you.
Yes, we're
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, absolutely.
I am fascinated by sibling relationships in business because I was partners with my sister for a decade, and I want to understand how that came about. And maybe in doing that, we'll get to who you are and what you are building. But
yeah,
I don't know where we're going to start, and is there a family dynamics as to who starts talking here?
As I'm looking at it.
No, I think...
And now we know.
I think it started with when we were very young.
Yeah.
We've always been inseparable.
What is the age difference?
2 years.
Yeah.
But our birthdays are in May. And it was always like we celebrated it at the same time because my mom was like, okay, yours is in the beginning, Sarah. Joy's is at the end.
Let's find something in the middle just to make it easier for herself.
So we were
daughter's birthdays observed.
Yeah, exactly.
So we always did like a big thing, and it was always the two of us, and a lot of people thought we were twins.
Yeah.
And so I think our partnership started from a very young age. Yeah. And then when she moved out to LA, and I lived in New York City, and I was working on getting the brand started, I was like, oh, I can't do this without her. There's someone that's going to check me and guide me and protect me at all costs. It's going to be her. So I called her.
I think we both have our strengths in certain things, and it's so funny because it's like you said, we were raised as twins, quote unquote, but at the same time, we're so different in so many ways. Yeah. And I think as we developed and we became teenagers and now adults, a lot of that is more clear now. Yeah. Like we are so completely different in the best way possible because I think opposites really do attract in that sense. And then we have a good like workmanship, and obviously our relationship is amazing. Yeah. But then again, we're very passionate people, both of us.
Yeah.
I think it works. Knock on wood, so far it's worked really well. I think when I got a call from Joy, because she's obviously been in this jewelry industry for many years now, but I did jewelry when I was in high school, worked in retail as well, and then I left, went to LA, did what people in LA do. And
at some point I'm going to ask what that is, but keep going.
And then when I got a call from her in 2020, which I think you should share how you also came about wanting to build Lionheart, and she was like, I need you on board. I was like, okay, no questions asked, I'm flying back tomorrow. I gave up my lease, I gave everything up, sold everything, packed a bag, and then flew right back to New York City. And I was like, so what are we doing? I'm here for this. And I think there's
also something very sweet about wanting to, and familiar also about wanting to be together, wanting to do this together, because it's not easy.
No.
We are very similar, but we're also very different. So I think when our worlds are connected, we get to build even better and create even better. And she lets me shine in many ways where, maybe my own head, I'll be like, okay, I gotta control this, or you gotta bring it down. We don't live in that world where you can create like a gigantic necklace for, and she'll be like, Joy, I don't know, maybe control yourself.
To be fair, I never stop you. You do you, always.
Not always
I just think,
redirect,
Joy
encourage.
is constantly designing, God bless her, and she's always done that. She's done that since we were young. She always knew what she wanted to do, and I applaud you for that. So I've never stopped her. I was just like, okay, but it's also a business. Like, how do we then approach this the best way financially? We have to also, of course, make sales and make this something that people can relate to. And so we always, what I do love about what we do, and I think a lot of designers do this, and artists, is that we pour our heart and soul into it. And I think that's what, when I work with Joy, I'm like, okay, it all makes sense. Okay, there are stressful days, and sometimes it's your sister, so you're just like, oh my God. But at the end of the day, it's like I see her as a business partner and as an artist, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna put my like type A personality on the side. We're gonna shelve this for a second, and I see what you're saying. And so it balances out, because I think...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And how did you come to this? You grew up in Denmark?
Yes, I was born and raised in Denmark. Both of us. We moved to...
Me and the other me were...
Me and my twin.
Exactly.
Found Sarah along the way.
Picked her up along the way. No, I moved here when I was 15, and I went to college at 15 also. I graduated high school pretty early. And I started college. I was just about to turn 16, and I was an English major and then an art. And then when I graduated, I knew from the very beginning what I wanted to do. It was always in the creative world. And then because our mother had introduced us to someone at a very young age who was in the jewelry industry, I started working from the age of 15 in jewelry. So I got like the best of both worlds. It was like...
Doing what? Were you a gopher? Were you a polisher? What were you?
A little bit of everything, Mark. I actually started on the floor selling jewelry. I was a sales associate. And then I was so interested with the back of the house that they would always bring me back there. They'd be like, okay, this is how you polish, this is how you solder. And I was like, okay, but can I try? And I think all those guys thought it was so endearing that I was so interested into learning how the process was that they would allow me. There was no safety measures whatsoever. No. The amount of times I burned myself, and while polishing, little parts of gold would shoot into my face, and a lot
scars.
of things. A lot happened, but it was I think it was a different time, and you could do many more things without all that extra...
Statute of limitations is run for OSHA violations here.
Yeah, that's true. But that was like the best part of my education. It was being hands-on. So I learned a lot from all those men, and I'm so grateful because I think it really built me a backbone and also just taught me everything. It's not just textbook materials that taught me a lot of the technical stuff and all the computer stuff, but it was like being hands-on, touching
the life experiences.
Yeah, the life experiences and how to deal with people, how to deal with the creation, the process, and I just fell more and more in love with it. And
what was the attraction?
I don't know, maybe because I'm a Gemini. And I like to do many things and see, there's a lot of me. Okay. And I think because it wasn't just one thing, I'm not good with just doing one thing. Mm-hmm. And because it was learning how to handle sales and managing people and sorting stones and polishing and soldering and just everything. It was like a little bit of everything. It was fueling my entire being, all of my... all of me. All
you
of
and your multiplicities.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what attracted me the most because I was never bored. And when you're very young, you need things to stimulate you and get you going. And I think that really was like, okay, this is where I'm meant to be. This is where I belong because I feel like I'm a part of all of this and I'm doing something so great. And then as I was growing up, I was introduced to like diamonds and how to grade them and how to sort them, and then it became very concentrated work, and then you see the process of how to really put together people's lifelong pieces like wedding bands, and to some people it might be just another band or but these are pieces people try to at least wear once in their life, and when they go down the aisle, and this is very treasured pieces you give down to someone that you love, your children. And so I was just like very fortunate to be a part of all of that, and I think I just didn't forget that I was fortunate, and I was very grateful every single day. Like I was the girl, and I still am. I'm very much like the first one in and the last one out because I enjoy it.
Do you remember the first piece that you ever made for somebody else?
Oh, yes, I do, actually. I was with the company or my own company?
I was thinking about Once Upon a Time, but I'll be curious to understand for yourself too.
So when I was about 17 years old, I remember I got to be a part of creating a piece for a client. My boss at the time was like, okay, Joy, this is your client, and I want you to do A to Z. And I was like, okay. I was very nervous because I didn't want to disappoint him. But he gave me this opportunity, and we made a bracelet. And it wasn't like the most intricate piece, but it was just like a link bracelet with 3 stones in the center for the ladies' children's birthstones. And I was just really, it meant everything to me. I was there, we sorted out the stones, I helped set them, polish it, everything. And it was just everything to me. And I remember that lady, who actually is no longer with us anymore, rest her soul, she said, oh my God, I have a piece by Joy. I'm so excited. I'm going to tell everyone. And it just was like the best thing in the world when you're 16, 17 years old and you get to be a part of it. It's like incredible. So that was my very first.
And it does feel like pieces are animated by the soul of the creator. And when you know who brought something into the world, it means so much more to you.
I agree.
And while she's doing this, you were also born. You were also...
I, too, the other sister. Yeah, we were born and raised in Denmark, and then I moved here a year after you and Mom were here. Yeah. They left me with family in Denmark. I had to finish school. I moved here, I think for me, it was a culture shock, especially like when first of all, we're not even really originally from Copenhagen. We're from a small town in Aarhus, so our lives were very different than...
Which is quite rural, yeah?
Yeah. We grew up, especially our area too, we grew up next to ranches and stuff, and we were around horses, and then we had to take 4 buses to go to school at that time because the school was in the city. So finally, when we were in Copenhagen, I was like, wow, this is cool, this is city life. And then you're thrown into New York City, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh, this is city life.
This is the jungle. But it was like really, honestly, amazing and beautiful and vivacious. And I think for Joy and my mom, they were like really all about it. And I was like, but is this like a temporary thing? Are we thinking about Copenhagen? Let's go back living by the harbor. But so to me, it took a little bit of a longer time, I think, to even get adjusted into the society out here. But I did see the beauty of what New York offered through the eyes of Joy and my mom. And I think once we did, it's so funny because it's like we were always together, but we did work in the jewelry industry together also as teens, as like in retail and as buyers. And then, of course, I ended up moving to California.
What took you to LA? So
my grandmother ended up moving to LA, and we were a very close family, and we're a very small family. So I was like, we should have a representative out there. So I was like, I'll go out there, and then I was like, I'll try it out. And I went to LA just to be very close with her. And
like, this is a city, and this is a different city.
So, that over there, I was like, oh, everyone is a little too relaxed. Like, why is everyone surfing? And everyone's too chill. But I think at that point I had already become a New Yorker, so it was like, oh no, how do I maneuver this place now? And so I stayed out there. I did like major and minored in business and acting. So our family is really all about arts in general. My mom has really always been supportive in that aspect. She was never really one to push us to just do the things she thought was the right field to go into. Be a doctor, be a lawyer.
Don't be a doctor. Don't be a lawyer.
I didn't want to say that. Yeah. But she just was genuinely like, oh, because I think also growing up, Joy was way more freer in that sense. You always knew your identity from day one.
One of them.
Yeah. I was a little bit more reserved and quiet. I was always reading. And so my mom was like, we need to get her out of her shell. So they put me in theater. And then I think that's where I was shining the most as a kid. And I was like, oh, this is where I can be me, because I'm not me. And I think that was a really great thing my mom did, because it made me like come out of my shell a lot. And so when I was in Los Angeles, that's a tough city to also handle. That's a lot going on. And I did a lot of theater out there, also ended up surfing, did a lot of rollerblading, and then...
Before we totally disdain surfing.
Exactly. And then but my main thing was that my grandmother was out there, and so I was going to, of course, spend as much time as I could with her. She was a wonderful soul. And then, unfortunately, we lost her at the end of 2019. And then I think at that point I was like, oh my God, what do I do now type of thing. And then once we were in 2020... Joy had slowly been reaching out regarding wanting to do something on her own, and we've always pushed her to do that. We're like, you're so well-rounded in this field, you should do something on your own. That's the goal in life. And then she finally got that push, and then she was like, that's when she called me and she was like, let's go. What are you doing?
And like, did you say, I've been waiting for this call for a long time?
I've been waiting. And it's so funny because before that
initial call, you said, for Christ's sake, Joy, I just signed the lease. That's
so
actually
true.
what she said.
It's so true. I got a great apartment. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the apartment of my dreams. And then I'm like, I called David and I'm like, David, I gotta cancel my lease. He's, what happened? What's wrong with the apartment? I'm like, nothing. And he was like, he was really awesome about it. He was great. And so shout out to David. I'm not gonna give you your last name, but you're a wonderful man. He was really cool, and this man helped me. He was like, you're like my daughter, I get it, go fly. Like, it was 2020, everybody had a community. Everybody wanted to be supportive, and I think that's the wonderful part of an unfortunate situation that happened to the world. A lot of people showed a lot of compassion at that time. And even before that initial call, I remember Joy was like, do you know how to build a website? And I was like, let me look into it. Let me Google and YouTube this. So I was learning how to build a website. And so I was like, when she did that, and I went back to New York.
Which she's a master of now, by the way.
No, I'm not a master.
Yes, you are.
I'm not a master, but I'm learning.
You're a problem solver.
Yeah, I think our website is great. I always think, it could be better. I'm always looking at everyone else, and I'm like, okay, how do I do better? And I'm not a tech person by any means, but I love watching stuff and learning.
But again, I think because it's like your own thing, you want to learn more. Again, you dig and you try to find things that maybe you'll see that someone that you hire for won't see as much. Yeah. Because it's a vision that you have that's created.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think it's so funny. I think once we did start working online hard at it, like slowly blossoming into something, it was a little bit hard for us to let go of certain roles in the business also. And when you're hiring people, it's like, oh, but I don't want you to do this because I do it this way. Yeah. And so I saw a lot of that in both of us, which is really funny. Even now, sometimes I'm like, oh, what are the girls working on? Oh, that's mine.
Do I need to interject myself? Are they going to do it right?
No, and it's like you have to allow people to do. You have to allow people to take over. There's always something else you're going to do and learn about the job.
I think that's where my husband's really good at telling us, guys, you guys got to let it go. Yeah. Just let it go.
And so before this, Joy, were you designing for someone else, or what were you doing?
I was doing a lot of ghost designing while I was working in the...
And for people who don't know what that term means, what does that mean?
So there's designers that reach out to you, and you do their design work on whether CAD, render, guide them into creating certain collections that they have. I did a lot of that. And then both for big and small brands. And then when 2020 hit, I got really sick. Not to put a damper on this, but I got extremely sick to the point where I was in the hospital for months and on a ventilator. I didn't know what was going to happen next. And my husband was like, no, when you come out, and you will, you're not going to work for anyone or do any ghost designing or do any of this. You have to follow your dream. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. He goes, Joy, you've been ready. Because we've been dating for 100 years. And when we started dating, initially that same year, I trademarked the name. And I did that because...
The name Lionheart.
Yes. Yeah. And I did that because a little backstory, a Scandinavian author called Astrid Lindgren, who wrote Brothers Lionheart. And when we were kids, that was like me and Sarah's Bible. Like nothing could go beyond this book. And so when we would promise things to each other, we'd be like, we'll swear on the book. And that was like our thing.
It's just a really lovely story. It's like a Harry Potter type of thing almost. It's only one book, but still. Yeah. But it just was a beautiful story about two brothers, and they pass away, but in every life or afterlife, they always end up together. Yeah. And they fight whatever challenges together. Yeah. And when we were younger,
I think resonated with us. And we were like, oh my God, this is like us. Mm-hmm.
We're sisters, Lionheart.
Yeah, we're sisters. And because I got so sick, I was like, Sarah, like, I don't want to be like them, where we have to pass on to, like, if there's even a world like that, and if we could find it, I want to do something in this world. Yeah. And I think that really hit her because she was like, oh my God.
Like, it's now. It's not, you don't wait.
It's not a dress rehearsal.
No, it's not exactly. And so when we were kids, like, we were like, one day we're going to do something together. We're going to call it Lionheart. So we had that pact and promise. And then when I did that, my husband was like, you bought the name Lion something. Because you already have the name. You have your designs. I've seen you create the pieces.
Well, originally it was Lionheart in Danish. And he was like, no. No one's going to say it. And I was like, what do you mean? It's so easy. Lionheart. He's like, what? And he was like,
go ask 3 Americans.
He was like, let's translate that. And he was like, it's still a beautiful word.
Yeah. And then once I told her and she came, I went full force. I was like, okay, now I felt unstoppable because now I have him with me.
And he's in the jewelry business.
Yes, he's 5th generation jeweler, and he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Okay,
and a jewelry maker.
Yes,
yeah.
He's a jewelry maker, and he has his own production and factory, which is not with us, but which is why we're still married. But he is the greatest support I've ever had, and so when he said that, and then Sarah came, and we got to just really dive into this. It was probably like I was given a second chance at life. Because that's really how I felt. I was like, oh my God, I got to survive this awful thing that happened because I was in for almost 3 months. And then I come out and I see the world with a different set of eyes and just different perspective, and I get to do what I love to do. It was like an overwhelming feeling. And during that time also happened to be the hardest time in the manufacturing and just overall district of any sort of wholesaler, supplier, anything, anyone, any workshop, nothing was open. So it was the hardest time to release anything and do anything. But luckily at the time we had a workshop in our old house, and so my husband was really full force. And then there was another gentleman that we brought in who's still with us. They produced what they could. But then we had to wait little by little. But
I think there were moments at that time where I was like, oh my God, we're working so literally like.
You're in the business now.
Yeah. 7 a.m. till 3. Like it was like, I don't even, the longest days, 20-hour days. Yeah. And it's almost like you can't really even control when to take a break because you're putting everything into it. And I think there were moments where I would be like, oh, I don't know. Like, what is this? I don't know. Is this a business? What is this? Where's our heart and soul? And then I realized it's all there. I think
heart
for
and
me,
soul was like the community, because I feel
that's what I was going to say.
Our mom showed up and she was like, oh, you guys got to eat. You guys are not eating. So she would constantly make stuff. And there was this like couples around the building, like older couples that would come. They'd be like, you guys don't come over, because they would invite us over for Shabbat, or they would invite whatever it was. They would bring us food. There was a Georgian couple that would bring us like Georgian dishes, and somebody would bring us like
you
Russian
need to take
dishes.
a break
like,
and
all
everything.
Over and so everybody was really.
And I wanted to mention another thing: customers. They were really. It's not even about the business aspect of it and making the sales. It was the connection that Joy especially built. She's so good at, in general, just like connecting with people. And I remember in particular, there were certain instances where I would read messages from customers that had written to Joy, and I was like, oh my God, it's like, we're in the luxury business. We're not saving lives, but at the same time, there was this community that was built, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and I think that's what made me continue, and the drive that was within me personally also, because I just saw the stories that were shared.
Letters,
and at the end of the day, I think with jewelry, it being a luxury, they're luxury items, and it's not anything that important, but there is a lot of soul that goes into it. And I think the person that's buying the piece, it's such a personal piece to them. So we were able to hear people's stories and why they were buying something. And I thought that was the most beautiful part. Yeah. So we always invite anyone, even when people are just buying from our website, we always reach out. We always have the girls reach out to ask them, or like to just share their story, because we want to know what made you purchase this. And it's so lovely. I think 90% of the time customers will reach out and they have such a lovely story. And sometimes their stories are really sad, and they'll even share that with us. And there has been times where I've woken up someone, I'm not going to say obviously who, but a lady from a different country reaching out, wanting to buy one of our bird charms because their child was in the hospital and that was their birthstone, and she called her child her little sparrow and whatnot. I remember 7 a.m. seeing this email and bawling and being like, Joy, can we rush this order? Like, we got to give this out to her and all these things. And then just her following up months later with the progress of her child. And I'm like, this is and so it's like, there's a lot of things that with jewelry that's so personal. That's why we have heirloom pieces and signets jewelry. This is historically for everyone, really. But I think for me personally, that's what resonated with me, wanting to even stay within this, because as much as I love the luxury and the art and that whole thing, it's just like, you do that so well.
The human connection is really what fuels it.
And Joy, you really taught me that part, because I didn't even know how you can connect with someone just online with this stuff. But then that's what we do, I think, best, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
How do you find customers? All right, I have designs. I have the ability to bring these into the world. There are a lot of people who start this and want to build a jewelry collection and then hit a wall because it's hard. It's hard to find customers. It's hard to find distribution. What did you do and why did it work?
So if I'm speaking for today, it's not as hard as back then. And I'll tell you why, because now you have social media, like there's so many platforms and you can really showcase your art and whatever it is that you create, you could really, there's outlets for that. But back in the day when I started, I remember just like seeing, it's word of mouth. So it's, let's say you purchase something and then you tell your cousin and your cousin tells his dad or whatever. It's just by referral. Nowadays, that does happen a lot. There's a lot of referral, especially in like engagement rings and wedding bands and communion or bar mitzvah presents. Those are very much like referral based, a lot of them. But there's also that outreach on social media. People see something and they connect with you. And so everyone's so different. And I think you look at someone's style and you're like, oh my God, I really like the way she styles things, or I like the way she's so simple or so busy or whatever it is. And I think your story as the brand, as the creator, has to connect with people these days, because you can access anything anywhere now. You could purchase anywhere. I was walking through the airport the other day. In Rome, there was like 200 jewelry stores. I see that in Istanbul airport, so many airports. And so there's jewelry. It's like it's almost become like a fast fashion with just how much you can have access to. But I think there's a lot of individuality, a lot of people wanting to be unique or create their own style. So you connect with whoever you want to. That's through social media.
Yeah.
When I first started doing my own thing, I did a lot of Instagram. I was busy on Instagram, just talking to people, showing them the behind the scenes and just doing that, which I don't do any of now whatsoever. But I did so much. Like all of 2020, I was very much, oh my God, guys, do you like these gemstones? Do I put it in this? What do you think? And there was a lot of that connection with people who were a part of all of this that really made them so excited, because they wanted to see like from point A to point B and to the final part of the creation. Yeah. So I think social media really plays a significant role.
Yeah.
And we actually just had I was in Italy at the Italian Expo, Vicenza Oro, and there was like seminars going on. And one of the conversations I was having with some of the people were all these old school people. What are they going to do? Because they're not on social media. And with gold prices and tariffs and all the changes in the world, it's going to change a lot of people's business structures, because they have to either get on board or there's no other way. You have to get on board.
Yeah. You are selling expensive things in a business where there are big name brands, and certainly at the beginning, nobody had ever heard of a Lionheart. How do you get over that hump of, oh, I'm spending money that I could otherwise be spending at Tiffany or Cartier or Van Cleef, and I'm buying this thing, oh, maybe I like this person, but this is not the brand that my neighbor has.
So again,
I think you attract your tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only answer I can always give. You attract your tribe. It's people come to you, and I think it's just, that's how it's worked for us.
It's true. Yeah, I agree.
I think it's for all of us. I think even if you're wanting to buy something, or Mark, you want to buy something, it's whatever you resonate with. Yeah. So it's not necessarily the name of the brand, but it's the pieces, and it's whatever that piece is giving you back. I don't know. That's what
I'm fortunate enough to be in New York, where a lot of these women, when they do come in, they have the most gorgeous jewelry and all these big engagement rings and Tiffany pieces and Cartier pieces, which are classics. These are really classic names, and to be stacked amongst the great...
Literally and figuratively, yes.
What else do I want? And that is the best thing and the best feeling. So when they do come in and they appreciate it, and then they see it from maybe an artistic perspective or how it feels, because a lot of my pieces are so heavy, and I love that. I'm like, oh, I get to be amongst Van Cleef and Arpels.
And who is that tribe? Who is the person that wants to jump into this universe?
It's honestly everyone, but I think it's the person that knows that they're truly an individual. I think we really attract people because we have all walks of life. Yeah. And I love that. When I swear, anyone that comes into our showroom, I never know what to expect. And I'm like, this is a treat. And I tell her, we don't have the same client ever. Yeah. I love it so much. It's like the definition of New York City for me, even though we have from every state that come in, even from different countries, we've had customers come in. So I think it's the person that knows what they want. It's the person that wants to be a little different. It's the person that goes, listen, I saw this on my friend. I don't want that variation. I want this. And how can you then change it to make it look something very unique for me? Because at the end of the day, of course, we have our core collections, but they come in and they look at Joy and they look at me and they go, this is different. So I want to style a little bit of this, or I'm more like this. So it's the individualist.
Yeah, I think it matters because in the beginning when I have a mentor who asked me, okay, so we're going to create your creative process here. Your brain is all over the place. The pieces are all over the place in like the best way possible. Do you want it to be identifiable? I'm like, not all the pieces need to be identifiable. When you are amongst the greats, let's say you're amongst some Cartier Love bangles and some Van Cleef flower, I forgot the name of it, but the very famous flower pieces, and you get to be stacked amongst all those beautiful classic pieces. Sometimes you also get into everybody has that, or everybody can get that, and it's not to say you can get whatever you want when you come to us, but sometimes not necessarily knowing, not being as identifiable, there's something attractive about that as well, because you get
conversation also.
Exactly.
We've had many people that go, oh, my friends were asking about this set that I'm wearing, and then I'm like, okay, you're being cheeky. Did you bring them over? By all means, invite them over. And they're like, oh, I did, but don't sell them this one, because it's almost like we have this thing of, it's like, this is mine, and it's very personal to them.
I had a lady in an elevator once compliment me on some of my pieces, and then I saw one of my pieces on her neck and said, your pieces are so nice. And I said, what is this? And I pointed to her pendant. She goes, I really want to gatekeep this, because she thought I was just a lover of jewelry. And then I said, oh, it's okay. It reminded me of a certain designer. And I was like laughing inside, and we started. She goes, no, you have a lot of jewelry on, and I just want to gatekeep it because I don't want everybody to have it. And it was like a special, I never told her.
You never revealed yourself?
Never revealed myself. Never said anything to her, but I thought that was so sweet. In a way, I was like, all right.
I don't think I've also, one time, though, I was like beaming, by the way. I don't even know why. This happened recently. I didn't even tell you this. I had a friend in town. We were at Sephora, and this girl comes up to him. She goes, I really love your earrings. I just saw these on someone. Are they Lionheart? And I swear to God, I haven't told you this. Oh my God. I was shocked, and my friend goes, oh my God, this is crazy. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is Lionheart. She goes, did you just get them? Aren't they new? Or blah, blah, blah. We're talking and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, they're really comfortable. They're great. Like, just talking to her about the piece. And she's like, okay, are they like in the city? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm giving her the address. She's like, I'm going to email them for an appointment. And I'm like, it'll be really fun if she comes in and it's me. But of course, I didn't say anything. I was just like, and my friend goes, why wouldn't you tell her? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's like weird. I want to be like, yeah, I didn't tell you though. I think that's so cute.
It's going to be more weird when she comes in next week.
She's, oh, are you the weird girl I saw at Sephora?
It's so funny. Yeah. But I think those are the reasons. And I think a lot of people, I don't think I'm in competition with these big brands. Everybody's so unique in their own ways. Yeah, sometimes you get compared. There's a lot of chains. There's a lot of charms. Everybody's layering things, which it's not really going to go anywhere. Everybody's going to continue doing this because there is that form of self-expression and individuality amongst so many brands, and that's beautiful. There's room for all of us. My husband always says there's 300 plus million people in the United States. If you get to make some people shine in the things that you create, don't look at the next person. That's really how we see things.
And when you're putting together a collection, that's different than making a piece. And, all right, I'm going to debut Lionheart. Were you thinking about, are there going to be icons in the collection? Or how do you go about putting that together?
I do always think that there's going to be like an icon in the collection, the piece that people will turn their heads around twice. But creating a collection with me it's like a very, I don't know what the term is. I drive them nuts. I absolutely drive them nuts because I start off with 40, 50 pieces, and then they always make me narrow it down to, max 8 in a collection, which is very hard for me. Mark, I'm not going to lie to you. It's very hard. Well, the thing is,
we have bespoke pieces and custom, and I always tell her, we know you love all these gemstones, all these variations.
I do.
You love all of your children.
Yeah, you love all your children, and as you should. Yeah. And of course, and when the collection is out, that's what you're going to represent. And then, of course, we always tell people you're able to do whatever you want. You can change out the gemstone. You want an initial, whatever it is. So I always tell you, we got to just hone it in a little bit. I love everything that's going on in your brain, but sometimes these aren't like inexpensive things to make. These physical pieces that we then have to produce, they cost money. So that's the only thing.
Insanity.
But of course I love it. When I see her sketchbook or something, I'm like, what are you doing? Sometimes I'm like, what are you doing right now? And I look over at her and I'm like, okay, this is great. But I'm not like, so I never prohibit you from doing anything.
Such a lie.
No, it's not.
You have such a beautiful perch in your new studio where I can see you just sit in, let the sun come in, and you have all the colored pencils and all the tools. It looks like the dream state of what a designer is. So you have 40 or 50 designs, and you sit down, and is this the design committee? You look at this, and do you give her feedback on...
She really does. She really does give me
I always want to
feedback.
make sure the story is there for us. And I know your pieces always have a story. I know you're not just drawing anything. But I always need to make sure the story is there. And I need to make sure we know what that story is.
And how we can translate that. Because a lot of the times... we speak so many languages. I think in Danish first, and that's not just language-wise, also my culture, my upbringing, a lot of the things that we maybe connect with, like Brothers Lionheart, the book. It's very rare that we've talked to people here that understand that or have read that book. But when we do share it with them, they get so excited and they're just like, oh my God, what a beautiful story. But there are many times where I've thought, oh my God, I remember this thing from my child. And Sarah's, okay, let me just
But they
stop.
don't.
This is a reference point that is going to get lost.
And so over the years, I've learned to mix my worlds, which I think has made me better at creating. And just, I think it's developed like much better when I mix the worlds instead of just sticking to one.
And sometimes I always say it's okay to have like standalone pieces introduced in our brand. But again, a lot of the times I stop that. I'm like, okay, no, if it's not a part of like a story or a collection, I think we should just put a pause on it for now, and then that's...
So then I just make it for myself.
Exactly.
That comes out of a different budget.
That's true.
That's exactly right.
There have been a number of themes or through lines in the work. There's an equestrian theme that my sense is comes out of your love of horses.
That's right.
Are there other recurring motifs?
There are. A lot of the pieces comes from the love of something. Wings of Love was really inspired by my grandma years ago. I actually made her the first piece before Lionheart was created. And it's several different birds, but it's just...
She always said if she were any animal, she would want to be a bird. Yeah. And we would ask her why, Grandma. She'd be like, because they're free. Yeah. You know, she came from a generation where she's seen a lot as a woman. So she was like, women weren't necessarily very free. And my grandmother, once she was in, I'm going to say the modern world, by the time we came along and the world changed a bit and she was a free woman and a happy woman and got to be who she was very much a beautiful, individual, interesting, vivacious woman. Yeah. And she was like, I want to be a bird, I want to fly, I want to soar. And so we always thought that was so fascinating. We're like, that's so beautiful. And before she passed, you made her one of the Wings of Love, the swallow charm, and she loved it. And then when she passed, we said she's free. And that's one of the motifs for sure that I think has, like, the bird concept has been very...
A lot of animals. We love animals. And the horses, obviously, we had horses growing up. We rode horses growing up. And
it wasn't anything fancy, though.
No, it wasn't fancy,
like
but
really
it was...
small little...
But it was...
This was not the Hermes horse world
it was
or
the little barn outside of a small town in Aarhus.
And but I had my first horse when I was like 5 years old, and I had it until we moved, and this was like a very big part of just my identity. Yeah. And I think when I came here, I was stripped away from that world, and all I saw were these horses, carriages around the city, which is like the worst thing that you could see. It was so abusive.
Sad horses with so blinders.
Sad. And then I saw this woman on social media, and 13 Hands, and I was like, oh my God, this woman's remarkable. Like, she works during the day, and then she saves money and gets all these funds from different local people to go around the country and saves horses. And I was like, I have to give her something. And then I remember I was drawing something, and I was telling my husband, don't just give her a piece of jewelry. Get involved with her. You make such a change. And I was like, isn't that a little... I don't know this woman. He goes, get to know her. So I messaged her one day, And
my husband says I should know you.
Yeah. And she calls me up. She goes hysterically crying, and she goes, I'm so excited to be a part of it. I can't believe you want to do something with me. I took my sister. We went down to see her, and we've been involved ever since. We've been trying so hard.
Tell us what 13 Hands does.
They rehabilitate.
They're a rescue for horses, but not just only horses, actually. They also have zebras and other animals, which is crazy, and it's amazing. So they're a rescue in upstate, and they rehabilitate these horses that they are able to rescue once they, of course, have donations come in.
Yeah,
and
like
then
used horses.
It's just a beautiful place they've created. It's like a safe haven for horses and animals, and they also support veterans that have PTSD, and they bring them in, and they have a, what's the word, like a cabin where they invite them, and they get to stay there, and they go through rehabilitation with the horses, because horses are just so beautiful and peaceful, and they get to clean the horses, the stables, and it's an overall just like a beautiful environment when you go and see it.
And everyone's like a community member, so nobody works there.
They're volunteers. You can go and do it like we've done it. Like you just go in, and it's just a beautiful community that they've built. And when you then hear why you even have to save horses, you're just baffled. You're like, what do you mean? Why are people out there just, I don't even want to.
Shooting them for fun. That's,
it's just, there's crazy things out there.
It's awful.
But it's a wonderful cause. And it meant a lot for us because we grew up around horses, and it was not, I've never heard of such thing that people would hurt them.
Yeah.
So that was very crazy, and I think
I told her name is Mary Lou. I said, Mary Lou, give me a little bit of time. I'm going to create a collection, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get this word out. So just give me some time. I think she looked at me and she was like, this girl is so sweet, but I don't think she's going to do anything. And then so about 6-7 months passed by, because the pieces took a very long time. And I created them, and I remember just saying, okay, pack them up, let's go see her. And she was shocked. She was like, oh my God, you didn't forget? I was like, no, I wasn't going to forget. And we created she also asked me to create a piece that's their symbol. So which is the only piece we create in silver. We also have it in gold. Yeah. And whenever people buy it, 100% of the proceeds go to their mission. Yeah. And so it started off with being, maybe this will be like a capsule collection, but it's a permanent collection. It's here to stay.
And I think
it's been well
what was
received.
Wonderful, that's the thing, was when the collection even came out, before we even started doing marketing and promoting it, we had gone to a trunk show and then sold like most of the pieces. And we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. There are people that are horse lovers.
It's good.
It's not just a cowboy cart or summer. Like it's going to last. Yeah. And I think that's why we were like, it's going to be named Legacy, because we'd love for this to carry on. We'd love for this to become an heirloom collection, and horse lovers unite.
Something we can give back. And that's been, I actually just spoke to her the other day, and we want to do something with her for the holidays also, to just try to do our part, because here we are wearing pieces with these majestic beings, and we can't just overlook the fact that there's injustice happening to them. So I think this is probably the greatest thing I've ever done in design, I think.
What jewelry do the jewelers wear?
Ooh. What jewelry do the jewelers wear? Everything that nobody else wants to wear. Or
tell us what you're wearing today. Let's start there.
Today I'm wearing my...
How much time
I was going to say, Joy has about, 5 inches worth of bracelets on here.
I love stacking up. I wear some things that were... The pieces that are not my pieces were wedding gifts for my grandma and my husband, and those I have to wear. And then everything else, it's me. Everything else. I wear a shield that says, if not now, then when. I wear another shield that says, this too shall pass, because I live by those two things. I wear some religious medals. I wear my Cassander sign, which is the first piece I ever made in 2013.
I was going to say, that's a shape that I associate with you.
Yes. This guy here, was the first piece I ever made with diamonds on it, and I never take it off. It's so imperfect. It's busted on the back. It needs a good polishing. And
what is that symbol? It's a circle that is fluted in the middle and has diamonds around the outside, and
it's a very, I think, Scandinavian concept of a sun.
Yes.
Because I think the first time Joy said this, because that collection has the heart, the clover, and the sun, and I think when you first introduced that sun to me, I was like, oh, it looks it has a little bit of a Scandinavian vibe, but I think that entire collection is very vintage.
Yeah, it was inspired by a very vintage look.
The sun is symbolic. I wear the heart, you wear the sun.
It's so true. Yeah, that's so true. And then what do I wear? All my bangles. I actually wear just about double the amount of bracelets. But I've been told
she takes them off every night,
yes,
by the way.
True.
She never
I take every
sleeps
piece
or
off.
showers in her jewelry.
No.
It takes forever.
Yes.
It's like a 30-minute a day when I watch her, and I'm like, okay.
That's
Is
true.
that a ritual that has meaning to you? This is the beginning and end of the day?
My grandma used to tell me that when we were kids. It's so funny because when we were younger, we didn't like jewelry.
No.
We're like, oh, why? She constantly is gifting us jewelry. And she gave us, but she's like, you wear them, and then at night you take them off. And I was like, okay,
She really believed in the concept that jewelry for women is like an asset.
Yeah.
So I swear every birthday when I was 5 and up, we would get like a charm or a chain and this and that. And I'm like, Grandma, I'm 5. I can't wear this to school. And she's like, you're going to wear this. And so I remember we were like the only kids at that time. And also no one really wears a lot of jewelry in Denmark. We were wearing like chains and like having a bunch of charms just like dangle from them.
So
and I love that idea now, of course. But at the time I was like, this is so weird. But she always was like, no, your jewelry is that one piece that makes you. That was her little fashion.
That's true.
I guess advice.
Yeah. And every night she would take it off. And so I would see that and I learned that. And I remember when I got into the jewelry world, my first boss, who was my boss for 10 plus years, he said, I love this. You take it off every day. And I was like, yeah, I can't not. This is something I was raised with.
Yeah.
He goes, could you tell the clients? Could you tell them? Because
It would save a lot of service visits.
yes, a lot of pieces would get damaged and you have to treat
But you also
love.
have to treat them in love, and you respect your pieces. You respect your property, right?
Yeah.
You respect yourself. So it's an extra 10 for you, 40 minutes out of your day. It's an extra 10 minutes.
No, I've nailed it down. I know.
Yeah.
But
I think everyone just needs a good chain.
Yeah.
Like a good chain to start any collection, and like we all just have a good.
That's true. I can't leave the house without my earrings on because I feel like it's like a part of my makeup ritual. Like I have to have something on the face.
That's like the face.
Yeah, it's the face, yeah. And that's really how I start. And then I go, okay, fine. Then I put on my wedding bands. The watch I always have to have on. I never look at the watch for the time, but I just have to have it on. And yeah, that's pretty much really it. Everything else, it's just like it depends on how I feel. But I love to layer a lot of bracelets and a lot of necklaces and just wear my pieces. I will say the bracelets and bangles make me feel like I have an armor on. Like a
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. And it's like I could take on the day. And it's like a great feeling.
Yeah,
Chains
I'm the
for you.
opposite with bracelets. I was going to say, I feel like I'm the genie. Take them off. Yeah, I'm a little bit more simple, I think. But I love my chunky chain and my charm that I always wear. Yeah. I usually always have something that I've gotten from my grandmother around my wrist or just like an evil eye symbol bracelet that I have. I'll always try
You're very good with earrings, though. You love
yeah,
to
layer your earrings are just easy for me. I think even if I'm really lazy on a day and I don't want to wear any jewelry, I always wear something with my ears because I just have multiple piercings.
Yeah.
So I think
I don't know. Yeah. Grandma used to say, when you leave the house, a lady should always wear a little bit of lipstick and all her jewels.
Yeah.
So I have that ingrained in me.
Yeah.
And I always wear my jewels and my lipstick.
And you're very much like her because she was the type of woman that even when she was wearing like athleisure, would always wear like a statement cocktail ring. And I'm like, true. That's so badass. She's so cool.
Yeah.
And I swear there was no one like her. She was so cool. But you're very much like her because she will go to the gym and not this much jewelry, but there is some jewelry when your rings are always on.
Yeah.
That's it. The rest you take care of.
Yeah.
Pumping iron with just the bracelets on your wrist.
Yeah, true.
What does Lionheart want to be when it grows up?
What does Lionheart want to be? That's a good question.
I think I think growth is always a good thing. I think with growth comes a little bit of change. I think we just want to grow a little bit more, build a larger community. And with that, I think I'd love to leave this world one day knowing that we did something that was soothing to our soul, but also made a difference in other people. And again, they're luxury items. I'm not saying it's anything more than that, but it's nice to be remembered for beautiful things that also meant something to people.
Yeah, I think it's the feeling. Yeah. I think I would want to just be remembered with, again, I just feel like it keeps going back to my grandma, but she would always say, you don't leave anything in this world except how you make people feel. And I think with Lionheart, I would want it to always leave an everlasting impact and just meaning as it continues to grow. And that's really what I want, more than anything.
Yeah.
You have had so much success just in the few years that we have known you. You have expanded where you are in the world. You have a beautiful showroom and manufacturing facility now in the Diamond District of New York. And we're just so delighted to, first and foremost, to know both of you and to consider you friends and partners.
Likewise.
And to be ambassadors for Lionheart in the world. So thank you for entrusting us with your children.
Of course, we love our at present family so
Absolutely,
much.
yeah.
If people want to find you in the world, where do you exist? In the ether web? And I don't know, can you knock on the door and show up and say hello?
So we are online, of course. We're on social media. And of course, we have our showroom in New York City. Everyone is welcome. We do ask for appointments only to schedule in and give people their personal time, but anyone can really knock on our door and they're more than welcome. I think our showroom is like our home. It's like a living space. So everyone's welcome to find us here. I don't know if I should say
Or find us on At Present.
Yeah, that's a better place to find it. Yeah.
Or find us at Present.
At Present.
Yes, we're there.
Yeah,
so
and some stores around the country. And yeah.
Joy, Sarah, such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mark. This was such a pleasure.
That's it for this episode of The Materialist. If you like what you heard, please like, rate, and subscribe to The Materialist wherever you get your podcasts. The Materialist is a presentation of At Present, Matchmaker to Extraordinary Jewelry. We'll see you next time.